Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds, hanging out with Zach Glazar today from Frog God Games, and you guys have a ton of stuff going on, so it's appropriate we have you on today.
I appreciate it. Yeah, we have a ton of stuff going on. Right now, the biggest thing going on is we are part of the Humble Bundle with somebody you probably heard of named Kobold Press. Uh, Wolfgang Bauer and my boss organized this deal last year for one for Pathfinder, and this one for 5e is just on fire. And if you aren't a part of it, I recommend you get on board because at $17, it's literally like $390 some worth of PDFs at MSRP. It's insane. So, and it's been insane. It's over $100,000 have been raised now. 25% of that is for charity. And you can pick your own charities, but the one it's linked to is the Navy Marine Corps Relief Fund. And it does really good work. It's good stuff. They have like a 90% like spend through rate on the charity itself for people servicemen and women who have either trouble paying for their home if someone's overseas and someone gets sick, children with cancer, you name it. They have a million stories. It's good stuff. So you can play games and support troops and all those kinds of things at the same time. So I'm sure he'll link put the link in the chat for everybody. So
yeah, the links are actually in the description, guys. So as always, we've got those down there. And Humble Bundle is basically, they're always for charity, I believe. And you guys are raising a ton of money for this charity. Last year you guys did pretty well too, right? You did the same one.
Yeah, I think that the overall take last year was something like $137,000 raised, and the charity wound up getting out of that after Humble Bundles cut and the expenses and the taxes and everything. My boss brought a big old check over there to give to an admiral over at the Bremerton base for like over $50,000. It was
nice.
I made him actually buy the big giant check. Because I wanted that picture of that because I've never been part of a company that raised that kind of money for a good cause like that so quickly. So it's a very, very good cause, and Humble Bundle is great to work with, and they pay out right away to these guys. So they'll have some of this money probably right around Christmas time. So
that charity, from the conversations we had previously and with Bill, is Bill Webb, that actually kind of hits home for him a little bit.
It does. Well, he's a military family. He grew up as an army brat, but he lives in Bremerton, near Bremerton, Washington. He actually lives in Paulsbo, which is, if anybody knows the Washington area, Bainbridge Island right there is like one of the richest places in the country. And then like 50 feet away in Bremerton, it is enlisted personnel that are living like really hand to mouth. They're the ones who are on the subs, or on the ones in the Navy, and they're out there and by North Korea. And some of the times, they're basically almost on a food stamps like programs. And there's for instance, one of the people who they'd helped, their daughter had a cancer problem, and he was deployed. And in order to get him home in time for a surgery and such, this is what the Navy Marine Corps Fund does. It makes sure that for all the servicemen and women who help us, they don't have to suffer under the financial duress that they have been for things that are emergencies, etc. So he cares a lot about that because it hits his community as well as his growing up experience.
So, and for anyone joining us, like I said, all the links are in the description, and there is a ton of products there. For $17, you get access to over $375 worth of product from Kobold Press as well as Frog God Games. You guys have teamed up for this one. Did you guys team up last year, or is this the first time?
We teamed up last year. It was three of us last year, and this year it's just the two of us. And so, but yeah, the Toma Beast alone by Kobold Press is totally worth it. His Kickstarter for the new, I think, creature catalog that he's doing, creature collection, is on there now, which is kind of like the sequel to Toma Beast up on Kickstarter, and it's on fire as well. But if you don't have the old one, you get the PDF of the Toma Beast. It's, I think, the $17 donation level gets you that, gets you this, the Barge Gate book of ours, which is my favorite adventure for 5e. It's full color, all kinds of great stuff, maps for VTTs and everything. So good stuff.
That's funny. EN429. It's a ridiculous deal. I bought it 3 times.
I bought it twice actually because I wanted to test it when it first went live, and I actually was customer number 1. And then somebody gave Bill $20 when he went to lunch somewhere in Paulsbo because they overheard him talking to me on the phone about it. So they handed him $20 and he told me to get on there and go and buy another $20 worth. So I did. So I bought it twice too. So yeah, it is a ridiculously good deal. And Humble Bundle was a very specific that, like, a lot, I think, of the people who sign up with them to do this think they're giving away everything, and they're, they feel like they're devaluing the product, and we're actually not devaluing it at all, because so much of it is for charity, but also it gets a chance for people who don't necessarily know our product, and we make a lot of 5e product, to get a chance to see it for really inexpensively while it's still a good cause at the same time. So anything you guys can do to support Humble Bundle, I recommend. And honestly, if this is not your charity and your charity is something completely different, like Electronic Frontier Foundation or whatever it is that you think you can change, they have like 1,000 charities to choose from. So if you want your charity money to go somewhere else, that is totally doable right on checkout. So,
and that's actually pretty cool. And our chief and nerditor over at the website, Doug, actually wrote an article up about the Humble Bundle, and that's one of the things that he was a little confused about when he was looking at Humble Bundle. He's like, it's like you can choose your own, or is it a specific one? But apparently, yes. The answer is yes. It's both. You can choose a charity or support the the ones you guys are supporting.
You can also actually, I believe, you can support the charity even further with the money. And so, like, on the bundle itself, say you want not just the standard amount to go, but you want more. There's a slider, I believe, that lets you say, I want all this money to go to charity, or almost all of it. I'm not sure how that works, but I know that you can give more for the same amount, so that it kind of, the balance goes there. So if you're just want to give to charity, and you want to make sure that in this case, the Navy Marine Corps Relief Funds gets all the money, you can do so. And so there's incentives there to make sure that the Christmas is good for everybody. So it's a good deal.
It's funny, as you're saying that in the chat, someone was like, check the sliders.
Yeah, well, I meant to check them as I was checking out, but when I first checked the whole process this time, I was so busy within 30 seconds that I never got a chance to look at closely how it worked. But yeah, it's a good deal. And honestly, they have the charity you want. If this is not your charity, we believe in this one, but you know what? There's a lot of deserving charities, and if you've got one, this is the way to support it. So, and play games at the same time.
Yeah, Sam Rosa, Humble Bundle has been a really good for spreading awareness, not only for all the great charities, but it's been great for exposing tabletop RPGs to a wider audience, which is also really cool. So someone had mentioned about buying extra ones as gifts. Is that an option in there?
Yeah, there's a gift option there. What happens is that you can buy as a gift option, and you get a coupon sent to you from Humble Bundle. It's a one-use coupon that took a while to set up, but one-use coupon that gets sent that lets you go to our store and Kobold Press store. So you have to go 2 different places, and you go, and then you just run the coupon at the product there, and it gets you the entire bundle together. You also, when you get the bundle, you get a 30% off coupon from us and a 30% off coupon from Kobold Press if you want hardcover copies of anything, and there's no limit on what you could pick up with it. And so that's also another one-use coupon for literally for whatever you want. And so, like, it's really funny. I'll tell the story. I don't want to annoy him if he's watching, but Wolfgang, we were talking about the coupons getting used yesterday, and everybody's buying Kobold Press T-shirts for their coupons. And so I told him he's like the new Coco Chanel. I think that I see a future for him in fashion. So I think it's pretty awesome. Anything in the store is available. So
Jose Suarez has a question. How does this work? I'm not like, that's a very broad question. I'm pretty sure you go over to Humble Bundle, you pick the level you want to support at, you pick the amount you want to pay, and then you use the slider to determine how much of that goes to charity. I'm sure there's like a limit, because there's like probably like a baseline to pay for things, and then either you're getting the digital products yourself or you're getting the coupon code.
I think
you gift it.
It should do both. You should be able to get it yourself through the account at Humble Bundle. And then if you don't, they get you the coupon. I think you still get the coupon code to get it there. One of the reasons we do the coupon code is because we have existing customers who want to get in on this, and they may have half of these products, but honestly, the cost of buying Bard's Gate and PDF last week was twice the cost of actually getting this bundle with Bard's Gate in it this week. So people are picking it up just for 5 or 6 products they didn't have. They want it in their user account library that we have on our site. And so that way, we gave them the opportunity to be able to check out through here, and then they have unlimited access to DRM-free PDFs that we don't have download limits. We don't have any kind of passwords or any kind of watermarking or anything. So it's a way to add that to existing libraries as well. So same with Kobold Press.
I feel like we're doing like a telethon here now.
Sorry, and I don't mean to be. Actually, it's just exciting. It's exciting to see what is so great is last year we did this, and we're almost at the level we were at last year, but it's been one day, not 14. And so there's a lot of tabletop RPG players out there, and I'm excited for them to see our products, but I'm excited that they're just playing games. The best part about role-playing games right now, I feel like we're in a new, like a exciting renewal period of like just fun stuff getting made. And seeing people get a good opportunity to play fun things like Kobold Presses, some of the deep magic stuff that's in there is just incredibly good. And like, I was pleased I bought it because I have the Kobold Press books now. So, I mean, I probably could have asked for them, I guess, but I'm happy to be a part of it. And seeing all the options available for 5th edition and watching how everybody gets excited about it is just great. Plus, it inspired me to like things like seeing how good the industry is going. Is the Toys for Tots program is coming this week, and I bought 8 of the starter sets to give out and locally because I think that seeing younger people playing it too is just exciting. So all this is exciting. I mean, I feel like a telethon, but it raises money, yes, but it's just fun. It's fun to do this and fun to play games.
No, I agree, and I didn't mean it in a bad way. I mean,
no, I don't think you did, but it's funny when you mentioned it.
But it's fun to talk about, one, getting a great deal on a bunch of stuff, and 2, being able to help a charity as well. Rajan, already have some of this on Fantasy Grounds, but the deal is almost too good to be true. Well worth it. Not only that, too, like if you're looking for Christmas gifts for your gamer friends or family, like spending $17 to be like, here's over $300 worth of books is a great deal.
No, it is a great deal. It's $300 for the PDFs, not just books. That's not the MSRP and the book cost. That's the MSRP on the PDF cost. So the book cost, if we actually do if the print book cost, then that would be over $800 for us.
So, yeah, and that's what I mean when I say book. I mean,
no, I know. I know.
I get you guys in trouble. Dave said you guys are going to give us the books for $17. That's not exactly how it works.
No, you get the PDF of like this book is one of them. You get the PDF of that. The book itself is $100. The PDF is still $40 because they're so expensive to make all those things, and that alone is twice the cost of the Humble Bundle. And that's just one of the many books in it. So it's a good deal. And so I hope you all take the opportunity to get up there. I mean, they're at 7,000 bundles sold so far. It's not even been 24 hours yet. So you guys have been great.
Did you break the 700?
Yeah, we break the 7,000. We just broke 7,000.
I mean 7,000. Because just before we started, you were like 60, 70 away.
Yeah, and now we're 62 over. It's been a long day, 2 days of this. I mean, not bad long, but of like constantly breathing and looking and being like, wow, the generosity of here, and it's a great deal to buy, but it is going to charity and people taking time of the day to go get it. And it's cool. It's fun to watch. It's and watching people talk about it and see it, and watching the reaction to it has been great because it's such a price, it's such a big deal to see everybody get so excited about it being that way is fun. I don't feel like I'm selling anything hard that no one's going to not want. So
yeah. So Seth had a question. How do I get the books? I bought the bundle. I can't figure out how to redeem and download. Is it just an email?
It's an email from Humble Bundle. It should have a coupon code in it for each store. You go there, follow the link. It will take you to the product page, and you just pick it there. If there's any trouble, they have it all. There's a contact us form at froggodgames.com, but there's also you can email me, Zach@froggodgames.com, and I will get you the right people to help you out. We've had like 5,000 or 7,000 people redeem them, so I know it's working, but the server load has been heavy for both us and Kobold Press. So a couple of them have slipped through and been in trouble. If you have any trouble, let me know.
Nice. So, and also you guys have a Kickstarter going on. It's already funded. I definitely want to talk about that a little bit. You had mentioned Kobold Press. They have one going on as well. This month is freaking brutal. There's Tome of Horrors, Creature Codex, and Masterminds and Minions, all of which we're going to end up backing.
No, it is a crazy month, and we knew actually going into this that Kobold was going to be running their bestiary as well, but we don't see theirs as a competing product so much as a complementary product, because who here honestly says, I have 2 monster books and that's all I ever want? Nobody. I mean, literally, nobody says that. If you do, you're in the wrong channel, I hope. No, seriously. So knowing they were going to be on there, we thought that there was no downside to running at the same time because it's for the same product. We even use I think some of the same artists, or I know we've used some of the same authors in the past for different things. In fact, once we hit a stretch goal at ours at 25,000, I hired Anthony Pryor on contract to write another 20 brand new creatures for us. And you may not know his name, but if you ever heard of Dark Sun, he did most of that. He's done a lot of work with TSR all the way up to now. He's done stuff like with everybody, but he's doing 20 brand new ones. We asked to make sure it's a CR spread that is, reasonable, that a little bit heavier on the light CRs, but all the way across, and the spread of different creatures. But all they had to be was 100% new and not derivative. And he said, can do, so it's like we are making sure this is going to be great. And the more support we have, the better it gets. So.
Yeah, I feel a little guilty when it comes to the fans, because some weeks it's just like it just ends up being like all Kickstarter people with really cool products. But at least this way, the awareness is there. You guys can pick and choose what you want to support, what you don't want to support, and it's out there coming along. And I agree with you. My 3rd edition, I believe they did about 6 monster manuals, and the Fiend Folio, and there might be ones that I'm missing. So what GM ever is like, I have enough monsters. It's one of those things that I always
no, I look, it's fun being here and doing it. But if people have questions about other things that we make, if they have other questions about RPG stuff in general, I'm happy to answer what I can. I talk about this stuff all day long, so I'm long-winded and probably boring sometimes, but I do have answers.
And remember, guys, if you have questions, please put the word question in front, or GM911. This way we know you're talking to us. So how's your Twitch stream going? I know you guys are streaming a game.
Yeah, we stream a game every other week. We were doing the playtest for our Rapid Athic 5e, and Rapid Athic, for those who don't know, is our biggest product that we've ever made as a company. When we started out as Necromancer Games, we're doing a 5th edition version and doing Kickstarter next year, but we're doing the playtest live on Twitch, and it's going well, and we're actually about done with the playtest portion of it. We're going to switch it up, where we think we're going to start running one of the ones in the Humble Bundle. Actually, Bard's Gate is going to be where we start, but we're going to run more of a traditional campaign on there on a Twitch stream, and it's just twitch.com/FrogGodGames. It's cool. It's fun. I run the stream. I didn't do any of those kinds of things before. I had no idea how to do it all. I have an XSplit broadcaster and all this fancy stuff, and it runs pretty smooth, but it's a different experience. But if you like those kinds of things, we're on. A couple of guys from Frog God Games are there, and a couple of other people from other industry people that we know, and people drop in. We're going to have some of our customers on there in a little bit. It's great. It's a good time. It is fun. So please, if you take a look at it, if you get a chance. We also have a channel where we post those. You can see those on our YouTube channel as well. We have some of the archive ones.
So who's GMing the games?
Right now, the games are GM'd by Edwin Nagy, who's he was my partner when I did Death and Taxes for 5th edition stuff way back then, and now he worked on the conversions of Rapid Athic, the non-creature stuff, and he's doing the City of Brass conversion for us as well. So, but he also really likes playing VTTs, and he's really good at it. I'm not as good at that. I can do the VTT, but running the game and running a stream would be impossible. So,
yeah, that can be tough. Which virtual tabletop are you guys using?
We use Roll20, and then I run that I just do a screen grab of that onto a XSplit broadcaster, and then I trace everybody's Skype pictures and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, but Roll20. Though we have a lot of product on Fantasy Grounds. One of the reasons we didn't choose Fantasy Grounds was because Edwin honestly doesn't know how to use it yet.
Yeah, but I will say the thing about Fantasy Grounds is there is this community called Fantasy Ground College, and they show up in a chat a lot of times, but they are super friendly, super helpful, all volunteers. They're not actually connected to Fantasy Grounds, but you go over to their website or their Discord. I just had a question of hey, is there a tutorial somewhere so I can just watch and figure out this thing on my own? And, next thing I know, I'm in a Skype call with somebody and they're walking me through it. And I don't even know how I got there, to be honest with you. Really, no, you don't have to do this. I just want to find something I can look it up and figure it out myself. But they're like aggressively helpful.
Well, and what I love about Fantasy Grounds is I haven't had any much interaction with the guys who own and run Roll20, but Doug Davidson is just the coolest dude. Fantasy Grounds is real supportive of us. They give us like some of the things we need. They're just, when we have a product on Fantasy Grounds that's coming on sale, we get plenty of notice so we can let people know. Rappahatnock and the Toma Horrors 5 are both guaranteed to be on Fantasy Grounds. We're making tokens for Rappahatnock and for Toma Horrors 5e for digital tokens for Fantasy Grounds and VTTs in general. But they're the ones who suggested it, and they've just been great.
So one of the guys, he may be the guy that runs Fantasy Ground College, is just chimed in. We will help Ed out.
Right on.
Like I said, they are aggressively helpful.
No, and you know what? And that's what makes this industry the greatest industry to have the opportunity to work in, is because everybody is aggressively helpful. I've had people, we have a rule set called Swords and Wizardry, which is pretty much the equivalent of old AD&D like we played it. We didn't have like weapon specialization and stuff, but we have a whole line of books on it, and someone wanted it on Fantasy Grounds. Well, then people just start making it. You don't have to like sit there and wonder how we can get someone to do it. It just kind of happens. And it's because we have such great people who like all these products and want to see those things there. And so, but you know, I'm a huge fan of Fantasy Grounds. Those guys are awesome. So I wish I could like actually do the stuff all the college guys do, because I love playing games online. I love to do the conversion stuff. I think it's great. I just don't have time. It's just amazing how much they can get done, and they get more done in a week than I would on a whole month. So
how do you feel about that, gaming online? You know, you're an old dude like me. You know,
yes, I am.
Thinking about where we started, where it came from, and now we're gaming with people online all over the world.
You know, I was real hesitant about it, and it was like 2012 when I first heard. I mean, I knew it was getting done back when net meeting was new, back when I worked at Microsoft back in '97, right? I had heard of this kind of thing. People have used voice chat to play D&Ds for as long as it existed. But when I first started Roll20, I was like, I don't know, it won't be like a tabletop. It won't be. It was kick ass. I loved it. It was a good time. I felt like I was just right there with people that I now consider my friends. I've never even, don't even really look like in person. I love it. And I think that the more that we can get our stuff played there, the happier we'll be, the happier everybody else will be as well. I just couldn't be happier with it. I think it's awesome. So
Aaron has a technical question. I don't know if you'll be able to help with this one, but any idea if there will be a better way to forward or convey the text to third-party conversations to avoid formatting issues?
On?
I'm not sure if he's talking about Fantasy Grounds or something else.
I can't answer any Fantasy Grounds questions, but I can tell you that maybe. How's that for an answer?
Yeah.
I used to work at politics. That's a good answer. Maybe.
Maybe. Cannot confirm nor deny. Yeah, like for me now, it's like when I go to the conventions, like part of the deal is like trying to figure out which of my online friends are going to what convention so I can hang out with them in person.
Well, then you got to find them. You spend half your time like staring at a badge. Like, do I know him? Yeah. What's it? Oh, hey, that's D&D fan 55, at the forum and stuff. No, it's great. I go to a lot of conventions, and I never thought I would, but I mean, I go professionally, so I'm always busy. But the best part is meeting people that I've talked to and had a good time talking to online. And all of a sudden, like, oh, hey, it's you. Like, you don't have the avatar with the Cthulhu head like you do on Facebook, but I recognize you.
You don't look like your profile picture at all.
Yeah, no.
Tentacles.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
At Gen Con, I actually got to meet Doug in person. We've been working with him for a while with our Saver Dice game, and he is a great dude. And like when we've had technical issues, like he's in the middle of a streamed game, like emailing back and forth with us while playing in his game to help us out with some things. And I talked to him for like him and his partner for like 40 minutes at Gen Con, and he's just like a really nice and genuine guy.
No, and he actually comes. He's one of the like he and like I'll be honest with him, Wolfgang Bauer, and like another writer named Steve Winter are the ones that when I have a question, they answer it about as fast as I can ask it. And to me, that's like, it's amazing because I can't do that for people. I always feel a little guilty when I have to wait a few hours or a day to get back to somebody because they have so much email, but those guys are on it. And so it's really handy. It's nice to know. It gives me something to aspire to.
Someone EN429, is that going to TotalCon? I don't know what that one. I'm not familiar with that one.
Well, I know who EN429 is, and I know why he's asking. I'm thinking about it. I am. I've been there one time before, and I like it. But I think I'm attending 6 conventions next year. So it's becoming a matter of permission from my significant other and the weekends that are available. But yes, I'm thinking about Ian. Thank you.
Duel 810 wants to know if you have a favorite creature from the upcoming monster manual.
From the upcoming one, if a brand new creature, most of I can't say that yet because most of us not having.
No, he said he just asked what your favorite is, not brand new.
Gallows tree. Yeah, it's a tree that it has a gallows zombie as well. So as you come by, it like snatches you and makes you undead. I love it. How many people work for Frog God Games? I see as a question. Well, work for is a lot. It's a partnership, so there are some core members that are ownership stake. But in terms of work for and around, there's probably 15 people that we work with off and on, including cartographers and artists and writers, etc. It could be as big as 30.
So Aaron is asking us a question. Would Nerdarchy staff and guests consider a private one-on-one FG lesson for you all? It's, with that stuff, it's always a matter of just time, and that's like the one thing that that is the commodity that is the hardest for me to get a hold of. And I was actually just talking to Zach beforehand about something that I just discovered that may free up a ton of time. So who knows? Anything is possible.
You'll fill that time that you free up faster than you think you will, but yeah.
Oh no, sorry. I'm already in my head. I'm already filling it.
Oh, when you asked about the favorite monster, one of the fun things about this job is the other night, the 5th edition Frog and I were going through. We're going to finalize list for the Toma horrors. The problem is we're working off a book that had like 700 monsters plus another one that had 300 plus the new ones. We can't print a book that big, so we have to go ahead and make some decisions for this volume, and we'll make another volume with those plus new ones, etc. But we're working off this book right here, which is like that thick. It's like 700 monsters, and we're sitting there together going, which monsters do we keep? Which should we go? It's like the Roman Emperor. No, yes, no. And it was like a rip-roaring good time, but you sit there and you have to really make, and I hate to say it like this because it sounds like it's so substantial, but heart-rending decisions about this stuff, and you're doing it fairly quickly. But we had a good idea going in which were going to be for sure's. But that was probably the most fun I've had working in professionally in RPGs, was just being the guy go, Cadaver, there's just too many like you, man. You're going to have to either put off the next one or we're going to retire you. You're going to go ahead to pasture. That kind of stuff is just great. So
that's funny. It almost makes me think of you see the movie Wreck-It Ralph?
Yes.
Where they have the villains support group.
Yes, right.
They're all going to end up in their own monster support group. DM Don, how long have you been doing this, and are you making a living?
I am making a living, yes. It is not a huge living. I do have a day job, but it's a very, very loose one. I manage apartment complexes, and so I live on site, and so mostly my job is being here. But this is a living. I do this full time, like probably 80 hours a week. I got lucky to get to do it. I did a Kickstarter in 2013 because I thought I wanted to make a D&D module before I died. And I made a product called Whisper and Venom, which was a box set. And I got nominated for a couple of Annie Awards, and I was really lucky. And then I got noticed after my second box set by the Frog God guys, and they invited me to come buy in to become an owner. And so I'm one of the owners. And I have never been happier.
When the question was fielded as far as how many employees are Frog God? Frog God is kind of weird, right? I mean, it's public that you guys are. The way you're set up is more like an accounting or law firm, in my opinion.
Well, odd you say that, because Matt Finch, the author of Swords of Wizardry and famous for almost everything old school, he wrote Osric originally, right, with Stuart Marshall. So that was the old school stuff, was all started with him. He's an attorney. So does it shock you that we're set up like a law firm?
Not at all, because you guys have a bunch of partners.
And the way it works for us is that our compensation is based on what you work on and what you're working on all the time. So the harder you work, just like a law firm, the better you do. And so I feel really lucky to actually be able to do this as much as I can and do the kinds of things I do. So it's a great time. I feel extraordinarily blessed.
Nice.
Plus
So,
one. Plus one spell. Right.
Aaron wants to know: would you hire Rob Toohey to help port your products? I don't think to Fantasy Grounds. That's not really something you would publicly answer. But if I talk to Zach afterwards and he has an interest, I can connect you guys up. Rob Toohey does a lot of work over at Fantasy Grounds with porting stuff in.
I certainly we'll give him my email address because that's not we're interested in those kinds of things in general. So we'll talk about something.
Yeah, so we could probably we can connect people, and where it goes from there, who knows?
Right on.
Next level 88, a live stream tutorial on how to run Fantasy Grounds would be great on Nerdarchy. That is something I'm willing to talk with Aaron and the Fantasy Ground College people. We can figure something out. We do have something where we actually called the Nerdarchy Network that we're experimenting in, where we bring other creators in and let them put videos on our channel so that they can get more.
I'd watch that. I would watch that, just so you know. I know that my vote doesn't count much, but I would watch that too.
Everyone's vote counts. Some more than others, but everyone's vote counts. Yeah, so let's jump in the roll call. I think we're at about that time, guys. So sound off where you're coming from. We've been at a steady 60 plus people hanging out with us, which is always really cool. And it's always good to get another old school gamer on here. Although you've aged much better than me, I feel like.
Well, I doubt it. Yeah, oh Lord.
It's the white. My son is just turned 17, and his hair is already salt and pepper.
Oh, well, that's why I had to shave. My wife said, "Look, I sent him." Anyway, Cottonwood, Arizona. I'm doing my call out here. Cottonwood, Arizona.
Nice. So we got Paul. We have Paul coming to us from Pittsburgh. We got Nova Scotia in the house with Mike Gould, which is one of our staff writers. Does an awesome out of the box series over there. New Hampshire in the house with EN429. Seattle with Aaron. Colorado is Digalicious. We have Serbia, Belgrade in the house.
Hello, Serbia.
Which is awesome. We have Toronto with Uncle Peter. Fergal wants to know when we're going to have the Nerdarchy app on Android. We're working on it. As soon as our developer hires a Android guy. Zareth, this gaming is coming to us from Redizio, New Mexico. We got Oklahoma in the house with Shivs Estaba. Sacramento, California with Ranger. How close are you to the fires? Like this picture is coming out of California right now are pretty hellish looking. We got Brian Collin in Georgia. It was actually his booth I was hanging out in front of when I ran into Doug from Fantasy Grounds. And it jumped on me and I completely lost my place. Here we go. Edmund Washington with Elfbait. Ravens coming to us from the OZ. We got Fergal in Ireland here. Circleville is Geek and Undies, and that's Ohio. We've got Round Rock, Texas in the house with Crotolis. Sadly stuck in Dallas, Texas is Jason. We got Todd is also in Dallas, Texas. I don't know if he feels stuck or not. We have Moon Girl 786, Ontario, Canada. Tampa, Florida in the house with Jose Suarez. Missouri in the house with Ranger Rory. We've got Eric Tenkar. I believe that's one of your people.
Well, he's sort of one of our people. He's a loudmouth from another blog at Tenkar's Tavern, but yeah, he works at our booth sometimes because he's like an amazing worker. So we exploit him. Nice.
Yeah. We have Walt coming to us from Ashland, Kentucky. We got Leron in Seattle with Aaron. We've got a lot of you. Queensland, Australia in the house with Bennett. Montana in the house with Tucker Author. Minneapolis, Minnesota with Rodney. Quebec, Canada with Sylvain. Kurt with Minnesota, Minneapolis. Eric is in New York City. You're actually too far from me. We've got Cannibal Loco, Argentina. I live for some of these screen names. Aruba in the house with PMK 108. Utah with Regilio. Philly with DM Dom. We've got Lincoln in Sweden.
Great. I see that Edwin Nagy we were talking about from Maine. He's here, so he must have heard me say his name.
Yeah. We also got Friganator in Washington. We've got Kurt and Rodney Ford. Oh, what up, Rodney Ford? Sorry. And I'm just in read mode. Oh, Aaron said hi, Doug Davison. So I don't know if Doug's in the chat as well. It's a very good possibility. He's been known to stop by from time to time. Evil Silly Putty in Minnesota.
That's a good
Dunmoon,
name.
Scotland, in the House of
I want to
Regen.
make that a monster for the Toma Horrors Kickstarter, Evil Silly Putty, but I might get sued. But it's still awesome.
It is awesome. I guess it just depends on whether Silly Putty. Doug is in Cleveland. Nerditor. Dylan is in Illinois. All right, I've had enough with the roll call now. My voice is going hoarse.
Next time we can, if we do this again, we can tag team. So we can, we can
Yeah.
No, it's hello everybody. It's great to see everybody out there. Honestly, it's this is exciting to be part of role playing nowadays, and seeing so many people on a live chat with you is just it's incredible. They didn't know who was the guest, so that's why I figure we have so many.
Maybe. Or maybe they did know, because they can always check the description and see what's going on.
Like I would do that. I see you have it when I watch. I see you have a show on. I'm like, oh, I'm not doing much. Click, and so it doesn't matter. It could just be you. It'd be fine.
Well, oddly enough, when we first started doing these, it was because D&D Beyond had made another announcement. And I was like, hey, you guys want to just cover this one live? And I had the other guys come on. And I was like, you know what, this is kind of fun to come on here and be able to hang out with the fans. But what I did decide was I did not want to be sitting here by myself the whole time, trying to read the chat and talk to them at the same time. I'm like, what can I do? I'm like, I know people. I can ask them to come on and hang out with me.
That's wise. Look at that.
Yeah,
that's leadership, my friend. That's leadership.
Well, and by doing that, we've gotten to meet so many more people, which is always awesome. We get to expose the fans to people they might not have known about, or products they didn't know about, companies they didn't know about. So it's just it's a good service for the community, I feel like, and it's one that we actually really enjoy.
No, because I'm on usually on Pacific time. When your chats come on midday is perfect for me, because that's about when I'm getting up and answering all my emails that I accumulate overnight from all these happy foreigners in the other hemisphere. So anyway, no, it's great. And there's so much great content all over the place. And so it's a good time to be alive for this. I remember we'd all hide in our basements with our 9 friends and play these books. Like back in the day, it just feels like a wider world is open now. It's just great. I don't have to grow up. I'm Peter Pan. It's great.
Well, part of that's still true, because we still hide in Ted's basement, but the difference is it's not like one of our parents' basement. It's well, and then we invite everyone into Ted's basement as well. So
that sounds like a crime happening, but anyway, okay.
Yeah, sometimes.
So, what else can I tell you? We do have a couple other things that will be coming up as well. We have a promotion that is going to be everybody's favorite, because the whole bundle is running in the Kickstarter. The only other promotion we have for Christmas involves free, as in like 100% free. And that will be starting for sort of 12 days-ish of Christmas in about a week. But it's going to be like no obligation free product that's not in the Humble Bundle. You got to get it the day it comes out and stuff. But that's coming up because honestly, with a big new audience like this, we want to get more to you. So be on the lookout for that. I think Kobold Press is doing part of that with us. I don't know that for sure, but last I talked to Wolfgang, who's probably the busiest man I know, he had said probably. So
he's between D&D and Pokemon, he's pretty busy.
What's the second word? No, I'm kidding. I was trying to show my age. I can't get away with it.
Yeah. So Uncle Peter wants to know, he's asking both of them, what is the biggest change you've seen in the tabletop role-playing community over the last year?
You first.
It's it's really tough. I feel like the last 4 years have just blurred together for me.
My problem.
Streaming. I have to say streaming, because I believe it's really just this year 2 things that happened. One, Curse is launched in D&D Beyond. And the other thing is Wizards of the Coast has their own Twitch channel, which they're streaming D&D 5 days a week, in addition to everyone else that's doing it.
Now, I'm going to go ahead and agree with that, because actual play podcast is something that I had not really heard of till our GM Edwin taught me about that they existed. And then this year at GaryCon, I met the VP of Twitch there, and I was like, this is like really a thing. They were wanting to push it as well, and seeing the reaction to it and how much more fun it is when you do it than it sounds when it's explained to you is really something. I mean, being on it is a ton of fun to be on and play the game, but being a part of the audience is like crazy. It's kind of like an old Shakespearean audience where you throw vegetables. It makes the game like really fun and interactive as a group. So I just think it's great. The other stuff that's big is like for us in the last year is you're going to see a lot more other production stuff getting better for like things like print on demand. I know that like Lightning Source and such is making more options available. And that's kind of inside baseball stuff, but that will trickle down to small publishers having better access to good tools. So that's changing. It keeps on changing so much. I can't remember how much it changed just in the last year, but that's a big deal too, because we are a community of creators, and the more tools everybody has, the better off we are. So that's just going to make everything better too.
Yeah, I'm really curious, what's going to happen next year, right? Like to the community as a whole, because it feels like after this year that's just passed, like so much happened this year. Like what can we look for the next year? I can't wait for the D&D Beyond integration with Twitch, where you're going to be able to mouse over the Twitch screen and see the player stats and stuff like that. That's going to be crazy.
That is fundamentally going to change the way I think people see D&D being played, and it's going to be a lot of fun, but it's going to encourage rules lawyering, which I don't like because I'm always the losing side of the rules lawyer argument. So I'm officially against it because it's not good for me. But otherwise, I think it's going to be awesome.
We may have had a player death in our game last night. We don't actually know yet, but he got dropped at the end of the session, and they absconded with the body, and it's a big deal. It's a big deal in our Saver Dice games because the deal is if you die, you have to buy your new character art. So
that's awesome. I already own a lot of it though, so I guess I would be safe. But it's only one of the best things about being a small publisher is you eventually get your own little catalog of art that you can have for handy situations, just like that when they try to exploit you.
Oh yeah, I imagine so. Well, for that game, with each season, we commission an artist to make our characters. And I forget the name of the one for this season. Last season was Olga DeBruys. I always butcher her name, which she did an amazing job of. She actually drew our portraits and then like kind of like superimposed the characters over them. So that that was really cool. And they did that to a certain extent this time too. But with my character, because I'm playing a kobold, and which is it's really hard to make a lizard person look like a portrait.
Depends on who you are, I think.
Well, that might be.
Handsome guys like us don't have that problem, but I don't know about the rest of Frog God games for sure. No, yeah. But anyway, so what else can I tell you? That is one thing. I think the other thing that's getting better, you'll see it next year, is for smaller press publishers stuff, is that so many new artists are being born by this new popularity of D&D 5th edition. Is that we have some guys that are, they claim to be just starting out, but their art is just incredible on like the Toma horrors. And the more of these guys there are, the more availability there is for everybody publishing at almost every level to have just stuff that as kids we would have been like mind blown away, like, oh my God. And now it's like just this guy turns in 9 pieces to me in a week and he's like, are those okay? I'm like, faint, because they're so good. And so I think that the inputs are getting better everywhere too, which is just exciting because like, I'm basically 12 years old and a big old body, but I just think that good art makes books so much more exciting. So you'll see a lot more of that too.
Absolutely. I'm so happy to see Frog God stepping into 2017 with color art.
Yeah, me too. That was one of my things when I first came on board a couple of years ago was really, color. And then Skeeter Green, one of the other partners, he did Bard's Gate. That's full color and probably one of the best looking D&D books I've ever seen. And that was done right when I got here. So I had no input on it. So I can not feel like I'm being a shill when I say it's great. Rapid Ethic 5 is going to be all color art, and the art in there is just incredibly good. I've shared some of that out on Facebook. If you're not part of our Facebook page, you should be, because if you like art, that's about all I post, because I can't draw and I'm so busy I can't type that much either. So
Fergal wants to know, what do you think the next big D&D announcement will be? And how close do you guys kind of like speculate and pay attention to that? Being a third-party publisher, whatever they do indirectly,
a lot.
You guys.
I mean, Tell me, do we as a group have meetings and to talk about what their next move is? No, but do we talk about it because we love D&D? Yeah, we talk all the time. We think about it a lot. The D&D Beyond thing is a big deal. The DM's Guild was a big deal. We had to think about how that affects us, and the directions they go. Like, for instance, the choices of the monsters in our current book, we are intentionally not, even though we can, because the OGL have ones that are real similarly named or just like the other one in a variant, or we already had it, so we're going to publish it again. What they publish affects what we publish, because we want you guys to buy a book and not think you're going to get 50 more of the same, right? Or 100 more of the same. And so we follow their content or like where they're headed pretty closely, so we can make sure that we don't duplicate, because we don't want to. We have the ability to make things that everybody wants that, without having to be me too. And so, yeah, we follow that pretty close. I wish I could say we were in some kind of like, smoke-filled chamber with them plinking plans, but we just follow it like you do online.
just try and bug their offices. No.
We'll talk after stream.
Do you guys follow the DM's Guild as far as looking for writers and talent?
No, mostly because it would be a bonus. Like if someone wanted to be a writer and they submitted like just an interest letter, for example, I would use those to look at it. But to be honest with you, we don't look much at the DM's Guild stuff because it becomes an IP issue. So that kind of thing, we have a million other ways to evaluate. And so that's not one we use, though I personally buy DM's Guild stuff. I think it's great. And I think it's awesome with the way they're doing what they do. And it's just a matter of, honestly, time. If you look at everybody's piece, or we have enough people actually actively asking us to be writers than to go out and just be looking. So
I gotcha. So, because I feel like that's one of the things that Wizards of the Coast did when they started DM's Guild. It's like, we can just see what sells really good over here and see who's writing.
No, and seeing who's writing and that stuff is great, but there's so much out, and we have some really great writers on deck. We're starting to stretch actually our internal resources for production, because we have writers who, these guys are something else. Like a guy named Tom Knaus is a guy who's written for us for a while. These guys produce so many words in a month that it shames me. I think they produce more than I talk, and I talk all the time. And it's good words. It's not just like little ones, and they're creative, and you give them some weird idea out of nowhere and they come back 2 weeks later with 20,000 words of it. And like, yeah, okay, that's why they're professionals and I'm me. So
I think Ranger One is talking to one of the other people in live chat. Nerdarchy does have a Company of the Nag Facebook group. So if you guys wanted to go, if you're on Facebook and you're hanging out and you want to continue to hang out, you can go over there and join that group and connect that way to try and make it a little bit easier. So there's always people talking. Games happen over there. We post things there from time to time. But we just made it a place for people to connect. So that's definitely a fun place for you guys to go hang out.
So let's see. What is there anything else you want to ask me? Because I can take some more questions from the audience, except from Eric Tenkar or Ian McCarty. I can take questions.
Yeah, they're cut off.
Yeah, they're cut off, man.
Yeah, enough from those guys. You know what? So I do have a question about streaming. So why do you guys do every other week as opposed to every week? I find find it's hard to keep your audience coming back, and that it doesn't throw them off.
Partially, part of it is too, because we're running more of a play test than a traditional game. It's not so bad as it's discreetly broken up, but that might change coming up because we want to have more of a campaign feel. Yeah, it's kind of hard with the audience part. The audience part was, we didn't mind if it was not live either, if they watched after the fact. And it was our first time. If we had 5,000 people watching us, which would have been amazing, I guess, but it would also have been absolutely nerve-wracking. So, but yeah, once a week is probably better, but you have to schedule, mind you, 5 people that are, 2 of them in the whole group do this full time pretty much, but other people have day jobs and spouses, and like I have no children, and my wife's a flight attendant, so she's gone a lot. So I'm like, I'm the guy who, okay, whenever, but there's only one of us like that. So.
Well, I would think in some ways it'd be harder for you though. You're like, oh, my wife's actually home, so I want to try not to schedule anything here.
She's home right now and can hear me talking, so I'm not saying.
There you go. No, just as someone
18.
Someone who streams, that's like always the thing in our consciousness is like, You want, like a TV show, you want it to be consistent. That's why one of the heartbreakers and one of the things that's really hard about doing these live chats is, I'm pretty steadfast about, no, we do it at this time, Monday through Friday, with almost no exceptions. There's been a couple people we've done like extra chats for or whatever, but it always breaks my heart when I'm like, sorry, we just can't move it, because we want people to know that at 12 p.m. Eastern time,
right?
You come to Nerdarchy, this thing is going on without fail. I think we took off Thanksgiving, we took off for the holiday, but for the most part, Monday through Friday, we're doing it day in and day out.
Yeah, that's probably the most important part, I think, for any stream, is to be reliably there. And I think that's hard to do, especially when you have the more people you have involved in a stream. And so, yeah, it's exciting because it's feel like you're doing like a football broadcast from your house, like a sports show, right? You feel like you should have an announcer because everything's happening all at once, and there's no redos.
There is no redos.
But it's a good thing, and it's good for the community. It's good for people who enjoy it, and I find myself watching them now, and I never thought I would. And so it's a big change, and it's cool. So,
do you find, now that you guys are streaming games, do you find it changes the way you're playing them?
When I'm on a stream, no, I'm a coward when I play the game in person, and I'm a coward when I play it online, because even though I know my characters, just a character sheet, I really dig them and I want them to live. So I'm always the guy, I'll take up the rear, and not the way you're going to say it, I know, but no, I'll make sure that the rear and the reserves and everything else is safe. Everybody else is safe because I'm protecting them from, surprise. No, I play the same way.
Because I know, like, that's discussions that we've had to have with our collab game, because that was actually, we put that together differently than what we've done with other things, and there's sponsors involved, so we know that it's got to be entertaining, but at the same time we also want it to be a D&D game. So one of the discussions we had early on was, will characters die? Will there be character death? And we've decided that everything gets rolled out in the open, and wherever it lies, it lies. Last night we might have had a character death. We don't really know what's going to happen with that yet, but there's definitely not any plot armor, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's weird because I would think that, especially with a stream, even if you have an audience of one, you feel more like you're performing, so you don't want to like do stupid maneuvers. But that hasn't stopped me. I've done many, many stupid things. I think I may do more stupid things with an audience, which is probably not a good idea either. But what are you gonna do? No, it's changes the dynamic a bit, but not enough to make it any different. Enough different from tabletop games for me to know this. So,
Fergal asked a question, and I can actually answer that for you. You actually said it. Do you play your own content on your streams and you're playtesting, and you're talking about running campaigns that are from the Frog God products?
Right, and that's true. We are doing that mostly because the content's all there and created. Now, some of the stuff will be newer content or will be adjusted depending on the group. But yeah, I think we're starting in Edwin can answer this actually in chat in case I'm wrong, but I think we're starting in the Bardsgate area, and which is it's like a city setting with about 8 to 10 adventures, and it has a supplementary adventure called the Riot Act that I think we're actually starting in. So it has a lot of NPCs and a lot of interaction and a lot less focused on like just delving and exploring, which is, I think, more boring to watch that on a live stream than actual social interaction, which I think you'll see with that stuff. So
yeah, the combat is actually kind of boring, and social, you're right, the social interaction stuff is far more fun. In season 1 of Saver Dice, it was kind of easy just because I played like a goofy, entertaining character who would just punch things and wrestle all the time. So he was always doing weird things like trying to beat one monster with another or drown someone. But
beat one with another.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like with a corpse, like a hit. That's awesome.
Maybe not, because
okay.
I was playing a Goliath.
Like it's like a zombie thing. I'm like, you take off as part of one body and beat him down. That's great.
He would not have been opposed to that. He was a barbarian Goliath that I reskinned as a half ogre. So he definitely didn't have a problem picking up man-sized people and using them as weapons.
I love it. Okay, well, that's approved, and not that you needed it, but I love it.
So, pipe smoking board gamer question: do you ever drink alcohol while playing? Do your players?
I don't drink, but half a Frog God doesn't anymore either. Honestly, during the live stream, I don't think so at all, and it's mostly comes down to it's a lot to pay attention to quickly. In home games, when people play at convention games, I don't. It doesn't bother me at all. But I find that really late night games are problematic unless they're designed that way, which is some of ours from Frog God are have been in the past. So
I actually don't drink that much. Like I have drinking when we've played, but it's not that often, and I don't drink that much in general. The other guys on Saber Dice do.
Sometimes I think that as long as you are controlled, but I mean, you have a responsibility when you're playing in a group to the group. And so it's almost never a problem. I mean, at conventions that I see, I think that most of the time people just have a good time. Well, we are adults, most of us, even though we don't act like it. I mean, we do wind up.
So we're coming right up on the hour because these things always go fast. What do you want to leave people with before we split?
Well, I do want to the two most important things to near and dear to me is one, the Humble Bundle, which it should sell itself. It really is a great deal. Since we've been on the chat, it is now 108,704 is the total raise at 7,255. I mean, it's just moving up so fast I can't keep track, but it's a good deal. The other one is our Toma Horrors Kickstarter. It's the first of our color monster books. It's all for 5th edition. We do have a Pathfinder option for just the new monsters, but fundamentally it's a 5th edition one. We made the price a lot less expensive than our other books in the past because it's going to something we would like to get in the distribution, etc. But it's still cheaper to get it now through the Kickstarter than it would be to get it in the stores. It's beautiful looking art and everything else, and you can check that out on the Kickstarter page, which I'm pretty sure you linked.
Yes, absolutely. There's a link to the Kickstarter. There's a link, and there's a link to the Humble Bundle. And there's also a link to, I think there's a link to your website. I'm fairly certain. And then there's a link to the Nerdarchy article on the Humble Bundle if you want more information.
No, those are the most important things. I'm a busy person doing all this stuff now, but it wouldn't be possible without support from like everybody that's in the channel now, everybody that watches this later. This is a dream to be able to do this kind of stuff, and a dream to be able to make and work on making content for the community so we can all live like Peter Pans again together.
With that, I want to thank you for coming on, Zach. I want to thank everyone for watching. We really appreciate it. Aaron Marks, I know you have a lot of questions, and a lot of those questions are really businessy, and they're not something that would be discussed on a public forum. You can email me at nerdarchy@gmail.com, and we can discuss. And if you need to be put in contact with people, I can probably help you with that as well. But until next time, guys, stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.